It's Christian from Common Ground Hospitality again. Today's Monday Munch. Today we're cooking stir-fried rice. We're gonna do some tremolo fried or roasted shrimp real quick on top. A little bit of fresh vegetable slaw. Really simple. It's really refreshing for good lunch, good dinner, good outside food this time of year. So the last couple weeks we focused on building flavor, and it's definitely kind of a focus I'm gonna carry through a little bit more. Just working with, once again, store-bought simple ingredients, to where if you just allow each step to kind of take place and the time it needs, you don't need a whole lot to create something really flavorful. So first thing we're going to do is our mise en place, obviously, for our cooked goods, which is cutting down some of our shallot, cutting down some mushrooms, just having them ready. Mise en place, again, is French for everything in its place. It's basically, think about it like home prep work. You want to have all that small stuff done, your knife work, all your sauces portioned to the sides, so that way when you're ready to start cooking, you don't have to take breaks in between. Oh, I forgot to cut the onion, go back, go back, go back. You can miss steps, you can burn things. Once you kind of start cooking, you want to give it all the time that it needs to make sure it comes out right. It's kind of how restaurants work, you know. That's why you have, your prep people come in, set everything up, get everything cut up, set the lineup, so that way when dinner service starts, all they have to do is stand there and cook, and that's all their focus time. And cooking at home is kind of the same thing. So we just have some shallots over here. We have some yellow oyster mushrooms from Eastview Farms. Real simple. I'm actually not going to do a whole lot to them. I'm going to leave them whole, just kind of peel them apart. Do a really nice job with their mushrooms, actually. Pretty much all of our restaurants use them right now, and I know you can find Eastview at local farmers markets. And they also sell them, but they're just beautiful mushrooms, and they cook very well. I'm gonna let our pan start getting hot. A little blended oil. We have our shallots and our mushrooms ready. So while our pan is getting hot, we're gonna go ahead and start our slaw as well too. This is just gonna be a really nice, quick, simple slaw. Mandolin. Weird thing some people haven't seen. You can find them on Amazon for like 35 bucks. They make a little smaller one. This is a great tool to have at home, especially people who are a little more scared of doing knife cuts. It's really just kind of a more secured blade. You can get those nice fine veg cuts, those thin juliennes, and that'll always be exactly correct every single time. Cheap, easy, nothing to maintain. So we're just gonna slice some radishes real quick. Radish has a nice little peppery bite to it, a little bit of heat, if you will. Nice and thin. We have a little bit of cucumber. Of our shallot. Raw shallot. When you cook the shallot, it's actually going to caramelize, cook down the sugar, so you're going to have a little bit of a sweeter taste. The raw shallot's going to bring a little bit of heat to it. Kind of a nice mix between a sweet onion and a red onion, so you're not going to have a really like in-your-face strong oniony flavor like you find in a red onion. Just a little bit of carrot. Once again, we're cooking with blended oil or canola or vegetable or whatever you have at home. Try to avoid using your olive oils when you start to saute and cook things in pans. Once again, it has a higher smoke point or a lower smoke point, meaning that it's going to burn faster than your blended oils. A little bit of carrot. And then this, we're just going to season it with a little bit of sugar. A little bit of salt. Just gonna let that salt and sugar sit. It only needs a few minutes for the sugar to kind of draw out some of the juices, and it's almost kind of like a quick pickle, you know? It's not gonna get that vinegary kind of hit with it. You're just gonna let it marinate and kind of do its thing for a second with just the salt and sugar. It's all you need. So over here in our pan or oil, let's come to a smoke point. Right when it starts to slightly smoke is when you can start cooking your meat. So if you put your proteins in pans when it's not hot enough, you're not going to get that caramelization that you really desire to try to go for. I'm going to put our shrimp in real quick. Season every step of the way. Every time we add something, we season. Now for the rice today, the best rice for fried rice is rice cooked the day before and left in the fridge. A lot of times you see people make fried rice, it tends to get really mushy, it doesn't really get any color, it doesn't really cook very well, and that's because they're using fresh cooked rice. What you really want to do is cook rice, let it sit in the fridge, and it's kind of going to dehydrate, if you will. It's going to dry out, you know, and you get that leftover Chinese food rice, and it dries out, you got to add some water and cover it and microwave it. That's actually the best rice to have around for fried rice, because it's dried, it's not going to stick to the pan, it's not going to clump up on you. So we have some rice that we had prepared yesterday, so it's nice and cold. Shrimp searing right now. We got our cold rice, we got our mushrooms, we got our shallots. We got over here, we have our veggies quick pickling. We're going to be using a little bit of lime juice. You're going to roll out your lime. Once again, if you roll your citrus before you juice it or cut it in half, it's going to make juicing it a whole lot easier. Actually, it's a funny trick, like lemon juice and lime juice. If you roll them real hard, you just poke a little hole in the bottom of it, you can squeeze the lemon juice kind of right out of it. You don't need to mess around cutting it in half and making it a mess. Wrap it, keep it in your fridge. It's like a little bottle of lemon juice, but it's all natural. A little jalapeno. When cooking the peppers, the most important thing, especially jalapenos, is you want to remove the inner flesh, the pulp and the seeds, because that's where that the unpleasant heat comes from, if you will. Just put a real nice fine dice on it real fast. Got some great color on the shrimp right now. Right when the shrimp are almost done, what we're going to do is actually remove it from the pan. Because if you look, there's a lot of fond is the French term for it, but a lot of leftovers, if you will, from the meat cooking that sticks at the bottom of the pan, and that's actually what we're going to use to cook our veggies in and kind of add our rice to. That way we're taking all that flavor of the shrimp and we're building on it. It's almost there. Got a little bit of jalapeno over here. We got some fresh cilantro. Cilantro, fun fact, is actually one of those vegetables where the stem actually will contribute more flavor than the actual leaf will. Your really bright, soft, wet green herbs like parsley, cilantro, a lot of people try to pick the stems out, and there's really no need to do that because they eat real nice, they cook real nice, they get tender. And like I said, a lot more of the flavor is actually in the stem. Your harder herbs like rosemary and thyme or woody, you obviously want to pick those out. Those are your branch herbs, but really the whole part of cilantro is all edible, so we want to keep a little bit of the stems in. Some great color on our shrimp. We'll set these aside. Now we're going to come back with our mushrooms, our shallot. We said a bit of oil. We want to keep it well hydrated with oil or saturated with oil. If you don't have enough, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of dry cook on that pan. It's going to burn. It's not going to caramelize. You don't want that. Oil is essentially your catalyst for which heat transfers and helps increase the surface area that really makes contact with the actual heat with the vegetable. So the less that you have, the more burning is actually going to occur. You're not doing yourself really any flavor or any flavors. So we don't want to cook these onions down too much. We want them to still maintain a good bite to them. So we're just going to let them go real quick. Yep, that's hot. have the rice ready over here. A little more oil. Crack 1 egg. Once your egg cracks, agitate. Non-stick pans do work really well for this part just because of the egg. If your pan is hot enough and you have a stainless steel, you shouldn't really have too many problems, but I would definitely recommend a non-stick if you do have one at home. Break up your egg. You don't want it to clump. You want little tiny pieces of egg a little bit everywhere. I'm gonna move the egg right to the side. I'm gonna come in with our rice now. Just got just a little bit of oil in that rice. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of furikake. I know we used this last week. It's a great ingredient to have. It adds a lot of umami flavor. A little bit of the brininess from the nori seaweed, some nuttiness from the sesame seeds. I think it really does add a lot. And you can usually find it in most international food sections. Right there. And you actually hear it. You can hear the rice cooking right now, which is what you want. You can hear the crackling of the rice. That means you have dry rice. That means you have hot oil. That means you're going to get the color that you're looking for. And you're just going to have a more superior product. So while the rice is finishing, I'm going to come back over here. Fire our shrimp right back up to heat. Nice and dry and loose. Keep this nice and simple. It's all good to go. We'll let our shrimp get right back up to heat real quick. We're going to start adding some jalapeno. Just a little bit of chili flake. I know it sounds like it's going to be hot, but it's not. The jalapeno, you're going to get more of a grassy flavor too, more of a natural heat. If you need the peppers, you're going to get that little bit of like back of the throat kind of burn, but it's not going to be too much. So we'll let our jalapenos go. We're going to have our lemon ready. Pretty nice to be juiced. Got some scallion and just a little bit of sliced garlic. We don't want to mince it. We actually want to keep it nice and sliced. We want to see those pieces of garlic and be able to enjoy. We're going to throw our garlic in right now too. I didn't bring a plate. Do you have a plate? You have a plate? No paper plates? Nothing?
I do. I have a paper plate.
Due to technical issues, I broke the plate. So we have to use a temporary plate right now that is not the best. However, it'll work. So we're going to come over here with our fried rice. It's got nice chunks in it. It's real hearty. It's got nice color. The shrimp is sauced up real nice. A little nori sesame to finish. Get all that good jalapeno and garlic. I'm gonna come back with our quick pickle real fast. Right on top. A little bit of scallion. And you're good to go, shrimp fried rice.